former model and mother of two, plans a homecoming after 6 months in the Mojave Desert.
She had real high hopes, and she was so excited.
She wanted to go see her kids. It was time for her to leave.
But she never makes it home.
I said, something has happened to April. April's gone. They've done something with her.
A harrowing tale begins to unfold.
A person made the comment that I know where she's at. She's in a hole.
If somebody gets rid of somebody out here in the desert, it's rare they're ever found.
It's a windy, unforgiving evening in the Mojave Desert in May 2004. 30-year-old April Beth Pitzer aimlessly wanders along old Route 66 in Newberry Springs, California. The young mother of two from Texas, who once aspired to be a model, is now homeless, hungry, and defeated. She wonders how life has come to this. Just 4 years earlier in Fort Worth, Texas, April Pitzer was living the life that dreams are made of.
Chase loved April. He loved her very much, and she loved him. April's father-in-law bought him a beautiful new home, and I mean, they had it all.
Married to Chase Pitzer and about to give birth to their first little girl, April's life is heading in the right direction. Then comes a knock on her door that changes everything.
The DEA showed up at her residence in Fort Worth and told her she was coming back to Arkansas to be a federal witness.
When April was 22 and living in Arkansas, she was arrested for driving while intoxicated. She agreed to become a drug informant rather than face DWI charges. Now, 6 years later, she is called upon to testify. With the help of April's testimony, dozens of convictions are made against major players in a methamphetamine drug ring.
And she was never the same. She looked over her shoulder everywhere she went. Then she had Bradley.
The birth of her second daughter brings April renewed happiness. But before long, the paranoia begins again.
She wouldn't even let her girls sleep in their rooms because she was scared somebody was going to come through the windows and kill them. And all of this paranoia started really taking its toll on her marriage itself.
To subdue her fears, April starts drinking and doing drugs.
Her and Chase had grown very distant. It's hard on me to understand all this fear, this paranoia, people going to kill her. But I was her mom, and I couldn't give up on her.
April has a breakdown and is diagnosed as being bipolar.
April just crumbled, you know? They'd put her on this medication, that medication. She was so beautiful, and then she just started getting thin, and it was just so sad.
With her marriage all but over, April takes her two girls and moves into an apartment.
She took a job at this little shamrock up the road from where she and Chase lived. The girls had never been away from her. She was hands-on mom all the time.
Just when she thinks life can't get any worse, April's in-laws gain custody of her children.
She went home one day to get some more stuff, and the children were taken from her because she was bipolar. They thought she needed a break.
Separated from her children, April starts socializing with a different crowd.
I met April back sometime in Texas. I was at a friend's house, and we were having a little social gathering.
John Lopez is a truck driver from California who has been staying in Texas with relatives. When John and April meet, the two seem to hit it off.
They decided to go out just to, mingle and have a few drinks and have a good time.
He paid April the attention that she felt she wasn't getting. John came into her life at a time when she needed to feel loved.
Just a few months later, John starts making plans to leave Texas and go back west.
I asked her if she wanted to come out to California and have a different view of the world, you know. And she decided to come out with me.
April's thinking was, well, distance makes the heart grow fonder. And if I put distance between me and Chase and my mother-in-law and father-in-law, they'll realize that they need me to take care of these babies.
It's December 2003, and April Pitzer leaves Texas temporarily to clear her head.
And everything was going to be fine, and she's going to have her little girls back and her husband, her beautiful home, and her beautiful life. But it didn't end up like that at all.
The Mojave Desert is at once enticing and dangerous. Home to the mines of the California Gold Rush, explorers and travelers alike have gravitated to the desert for decades in the hopes of realizing dreams at any cost. But once there, April realizes opportunities for an outsider are scarce.
There's a lot of really good people who lived out here their entire lives, but for those people who are moving out here trying to get away from the city, there's not a whole lot of work out here.
With so much space and little opportunity for legitimate employment, the desert can be a playground for criminal activity.
Barstow, California is known for methamphetamine capital of the world, so they say. I would say yes, there's some drugs that are floating around in the area. I try to warn her that there's certain places that you can go to that are okay, and then there's other places that you have to watch what you're doing out there.
As it turns out, April is drawn to the very crowd John warns her about. One night, at a party in the desert outside of Barstow, April meets a man who will change the course of her life. There's an instant and intense attraction.
This person on the dirt bike said, I've got 20 acres, we've got some trailer homes, and you can come home with me, and you'll have a place to live.
With a new man on the scene, April and John's relationship goes sour. Despite his warnings, April moves to a desert community about 20 miles east of Barstow. The world April is about to enter is a far cry from the life she's left behind.
They didn't even have electricity in that house where she was at. I didn't know.
Coming up, when April Pitzer hits rock bottom, she reaches out for help. But is it too late? When April Pitzer's marriage fails and she loses custody of her children, she leaves Texas and takes a trip out to the California desert to regroup. But a few months after her arrival, April is introduced to an underworld of drug dealers and addicts. Steve Wilkinson remembers when April arrived outside of Barstow in late January 2004.
The house I lived up in was right up on the road, and she was staying back there with her boyfriend.
A lot of people with criminal records living out there.
Her boyfriend and his brother had been arrested quite a bit. I've been arrested a few times for drug cases, so there was a lot of activity.
As a loving mother of two from out of town, April stands out among her new group of friends.
She had that southern accent, you know, a little different, you know, not the normal for out here.
From place to place, I thought that she had a job and everything was okay.
But life is far from okay for April Pitzer. The desert is an ocean separating her from her children. She is depressed and doesn't know where to turn.
She started walking down National Trails Highway.
A man in a truck passes by and sees April in distress. He pulls over and asks if she needs help.
And she just lost it, started crying, and told him her troubles, and he said, I'm taking you home to my mama.
April accepts the kind gesture and goes with the man to meet his sick, elderly mother, Barbara Killebrew. They become friends instantly. Both are lonely and seeking companionship.
April was a caregiver. That's all she ever did, you know? I mean, she took care of people.
Taking care of Barbara reminds April of the life she left behind, one she desperately wants to get back to.
Barbara told her, your mama needs to know the truth. And April called me, and it was the hardest phone call I ever took.
April tells her mother about the dark road she has traveled.
I was shocked. And she said, Mama, I just didn't want you to worry. She said, I was just so ashamed, you know?
April also says she wants to come home. It's early June 2004, and Gloria Denton immediately starts making plans for her daughter April's return to her hometown in the hills of Clarksville, Arkansas. But April isn't quite ready.
Her mom seemed to think that she wanted to come home. She was ready to. She just hadn't made that commitment that she was going to do it.
While days are spent with Barbara, April still needs a place to stay at night. Unfortunately, Barbara doesn't have an extra bedroom for her at the house. For shelter, she must rely on the kindness of other friends in Newberry Springs.
She'd been staying at my house maybe a couple of weeks or something like that. But she wanted to go see her kids, and that was a good thing for her to go do. You know, it was time for her to leave.
But according to Gloria Denton, her daughter stopped staying at Steve's house not because the timing is right, but because she is scared.
She called me and told me that she ran into this person out there.
In a strange twist of fate, the past has finally caught up with April Pitzer.
She met a girl out here and found out that she knew who she was from back east, because I guess April was a federal informant back there. And it was on that case that this girl's husband went to prison.
There was the girl and her husband that she testified against in the state of Arkansas 7 years later. How's that happen?
According to Steve, when April realizes who this woman is, she overreacts, calling too much attention to her past as a drug informant. After all, many of her new friends have made their careers off the drug trade.
She kept wanting to apologize and say how sorry she was, but the girl didn't want nothing to do with her. Just leave me alone, you know, go away, it's over.
All the years of fear and paranoia are finally substantiated.
I said, oh my God, April, you gotta get out of there. I said, you're gonna die.
Steve Wilkinson was in federal prison on drug charges at the time of those convictions. He remembers the case that April testified in that broke up a major drug ring.
32 people went to federal prison over it. There was chemicals being bought back east, brought out to California for the manufacture of methamphetamine. There were a lot of drugs being sold back there from out here. A lot of people got caught up in it.
Steve is baffled that the woman whose testimony helped make the convictions ends up in his home in California.
That's just like the needle in the haystack. How she could ever land in a place like this and end up in a circle of the people that were involved in that case was real strange.
Gloria wants to wire April money for a bus ticket immediately, but April tells her to wait.
I was moving from Texas to Clarksville during that time. She said, Mama, when you bring all your stuff back from Texas, I'll come to Arkansas, and that way I can help you unpack. I said, okay.
In the meantime, she persuades April to go somewhere safe.
I said, April, is there somebody that you trust where you can stay? And she said, Uncle Chuck.
Chuck Hollister is a quiet, middle-aged man, well known for taking in people who are down on their luck. Over the last few months, April had occasionally stayed at his house off Old Route 66 in Newberry Springs.
She said he's got a nice house and everything, and he's got reliable transportation, and I can go there. I said, okay.
I took her out on Wednesday and dropped her off in Newberry Springs at Chuck's house.
April is just days away from returning to her mother and a place where she will finally feel safe.
She had real high hopes, and she was so excited, you know, oh, Mama, I'm coming home, I'm coming home.
But 1 week later, when Gloria tries to reach her daughter in Newberry Springs, April is nowhere to be found.
I started calling Chuck, because that was the only number I had. When it rang, it rang, it rang, rang, rang. Never could get him, never could get him.
Coming up, police track down a witness who thinks she knows what happened to April. What they learn is chilling. Just when April Pitzer comes clean and asks her mother for help to get back home, a chance encounter from the past causes her to fear for her life. Now, instead of planning a homecoming celebration, April's mother, Gloria, is desperately trying to locate her daughter's whereabouts. And the man April has been staying with, Chuck Hollister, has not been answering his phone.
Tried to call her, couldn't get her, couldn't get her, couldn't get her. And on July the 4th, I finally got a call.
April's friend, Barbara Killebrew, had been in the hospital. One of the first things she does when she gets home is phone Gloria to check on April.
Barbara called me and she's like, how's it feel to have your baby back? I said, Barbara, April's not home.
As she hears those words, Gloria begins to fear the worst.
I said, Barbara, something's happened to April. Who was the last person with her? And she said, Chuck Hollister. He brought her out here to get her stuff.
He had taken her to several friends' house. He took her to Barbara's house. She was telling everybody goodbye. She had packed her stuff, and her stuff was ready to go.
It's been 8 days since April was last seen. Gloria is frantic and tries to file a missing persons report.
I called San Bernardino County. They wouldn't let me report her missing. They said she just had a bad marriage, lost her kids. April's not missing, she just doesn't want to be found. And I'm like, you don't know my daughter.
Gloria and April have a special bond as mother and daughter.
Everybody thought we were sisters, you know. She was my friend, she was my daughter, she was my everything.
When April was just 3, Gloria Denton lost custody of her 2 children to relatives.
I was 19 years old, and they thought I was too young to be a mother.
For the next 15 years, Gloria fought relentlessly to get her children back. Refusing to lose touch, Gloria and April maintained a close relationship over the years.
Her cards, they tell the story. She loved me very much, and I loved her.
When April is 17, she finally moves home to be with her mother.
We were inseparable, absolutely inseparable, and April said it so well. She's like, Mama, now we have forever, and nobody can ever separate us again.
Now, in June 2004, Gloria fears she's losing April once again. Days pass, and still no sign of her daughter, and no word from Chuck Hollister.
On July the 16th, I said, Barbara, you've got to make a report. Something has happened to April. April's gone. I said, they've done something with her.
This time, police take the report. Then, just 3 days later, Gloria finally gets the call she has been anxiously awaiting. It's from Chuck Hollister.
And finally, he called me back, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry that I've not been in touch with you. He goes, I've been moving a friend to Oregon. And I said, Chuck, where's April?
Monday morning, he got up to go to work. April was still there. He came home, and April was gone, and he hadn't seen her since. He thought somebody gave her a ride to a bus stop, and she had gone home.
Chuck tells Gloria about April's state of mind the Sunday night before she goes missing.
She had the pictures of her girls out on the counter, and she was crying. She held their pictures up to her heart and said, I'm going home, I'm going home.
But what Chuck tells Gloria next is very disturbing.
Chuck said that a couple of her bags were still there on the property.
Oh, it's all here. He said, there's her little white suitcase, there's her backpack.
Why would April have left all her belongings behind if she was en route to Arkansas? When a month passes and there's still no word from April, investigators begin to search the area.
Missing person flyers were made up and posted throughout Barstow, Daggett, Yermo, Newberry Springs.
The strategy works. On September 9th, 2004, a Barstow City transportation employee alerts police to a comment from a bus rider.
A person getting on a local transit bus, seen the flyer at the bus station, made mention that she knew that person, knew April, and made the comment that, I know where she's at, she's in a hole.
It's an ominous, disturbing clue. Police track down the witness for further questioning.
She denied saying that she was in a hole, but she did tell me that she was at a party, and somebody at the party, she couldn't remember who, said that April was dead and in a mine shaft.
Detectives have a lead at last. But the fact that there are over 20,000 mines in San Bernardino County alone is daunting. Deputy Coroner and Missing Persons Coordinator David Van Norman is all too familiar with the area in question.
The desert is vast, and it really doesn't help to say that somebody might have been placed into a mine in light of the fact that there are literally thousands and thousands of mines.
We're between Nevada State Line, the major freeway, into Vegas off the 15 freeway. We're not that far from LA.
If somebody gets rid of somebody out here in the desert, it's rare they're ever found.
We seem to be a dumping ground sometimes.
But it's not just the witness's testimony that leads investigators to believe April has been killed and buried in the desert. That same week, in early September, another piece of evidence comes to light, this time from a truck stop 800 miles away in a neighboring state.
A note was written up in Oregon at a truck stop, men's bathroom wall, that said, looking for missing girl from Arkansas, 3 miles east of Barstow, I-15 freeway. From Barstow to the Calico exit, the ground search was conducted. And again, that's an area where there's hundreds of mine shafts. We had nothing more to go on than that.
Meanwhile, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department obtains surveillance video at the truck stop that captures everyone going into and coming out of the men's bathroom.
It's 24-hour live video, and we have it from June all the way through to the day it was found in September.
In the end, neither the ground searches nor the surveillance video provides any further insight into April's case.
No evidence was found. That doesn't mean that the rumor isn't true.
Coming up, could cryptic notes etched in an old miner's shack hold the answers to April's disappearance? It's mid-September, and the search for April Beth Pitzer is heating up. But everyone fears the worst. First, a witness overhears that April's body is in a desert mine, and then a message found in a truck stop bathroom reveals the missing woman from Arkansas is close to Barstow, California, off the I-15. Police and April's mother in Arkansas have begun tracking people down who knew April, desperate for any clues that can explain her disappearance on June 28th.
April didn't have a phone of her own. Wherever she went, she'd call me collect. I started calling all the phone numbers back, and one person would tell me a little more and a little more and a little more.
Gloria wanted to believe her daughter is still alive, but that hope is fading. She hears many theories about where her daughter's body is, but there is one location that keeps coming up: the mines of Ludlow. It turns out that Chuck Hollister, the last person known to have seen April alive, has a close friend named Dan, who claims to own a mine out in Ludlow. called the Red Dog Mine.
Chuck and him mine, they made jewelry and stuff.
Dan and Chuck are known rockhounds. They spend a lot of their time together working the Red Dog Mine, about 30 miles east of Barstow.
Dan thought he was going to get rich. The town of Ludlow was part of the Mother Lode during the California Gold Rush.
This was an old mining area back in the late 1800s, and there were some old shacks out there that he'd write his name on, claim that the shacks were his.
Dan often stays out at the Red Dog Mine for days on end. He's a hermit who likes to keep to himself.
He's got a sign on the front, well, handwritten. It says, "If you can read this, then you need to go have a nice day someplace else. Dan."
Dan had started working in this mine back in the 70s. At the very bottom of it, which is about 200 feet deep, he had wrote Dan 1979.
Dan had been around a long time. When he was younger, he was one of the guys that, and you wouldn't want to cross.
The connection between the rumor that April's body might be found deep in a Ludlow mine and the fact that Dan worked the Red Dog Mine in Ludlow is enough for police to investigate further. First, they try to question Dan.
I went by his house on numerous occasions. His vehicle would be there. I'd knock on the door, he wouldn't answer. I would leave my business card. I left missing person flyers asking him to contact me.
Eventually, Dan does talk to the police, but says he knows nothing about April Pitzer's whereabouts. Without gaining any valuable information from Dan, investigators decide to go out to Ludlow and search the area. They begin at the dilapidated mining shacks Dan is rumored to have occupied and are shocked at what they find.
There was some writing, strange writing on the walls inside. Things about him being a sniper in Vietnam, things about trespassing on his property.
What investigators tell Gloria is bone-chilling.
One of the sayings were, 3 people can keep a secret if 2 are dead. Another one was, if you want to disappear, I can help you. It'll bug me forever because I might have sent her to her doom.
If Dan did actually write these things, was he referring to April's disappearance? Perhaps the Red Dog Mine itself will hold the answers.
Barstow Search and Rescue Team went out there. They also eventually took cadaver dogs out there, and they searched the mine from top to bottom.
But after 2 days with the cadaver dogs, police are confident April's body is not hidden there. There are no clues to indicate April had ever been to the mines. Could all this talk about Dan and the Red Dog Mine be just desert folklore?
Dan continued denying any knowledge of anything about April. He knew her. He didn't know what happened to her. He claimed he didn't do any harm to her.
The search for April is at a standstill. Then, a new and disturbing clue surfaces. In January of 2005, a woman recognizes April from a missing persons poster and realizes this was the same woman who worked for her in June of 2004, likely the same time she was staying with Chuck Hollister. Andre Pruitt, owner of the famous Baghdad Cafe in Newberry Springs, remembers well the day April came into the restaurant.
April came in and asked me for a job, said she needed to have something to do. She said she lived over on one of those dirt roads back there.
Chuck Hollister's house on Caspian Road is just a few blocks from the restaurant.
And I said, well, we're really not very busy, but I can let you work a few days a week. And then she came back the next day.
On the first day of her job as a waitress, April's appearance makes a lasting impression on Andre.
She looked very nice. She had her hair up. She had on a white blouse and a black skirt, like she was really going to work somewhere. Nice.
At first, April seemed like a good fit at the Baghdad Cafe.
She was very sweet, and nice to the customers. I said, well, you know, she'll work out.
Then,
She didn't come back.
coming up, on his deathbed, Dan leaves one last cryptic message in the search for April. Will it lead investigators to her remains? In late December of 2005, while leading a tour group through the old mines of Ludlow, the historian stumbles upon what will prove to be vital evidence.
He went in one of the old abandoned shacks and he seen women's clothing and he said, stop. He said, we gotta leave here.
Hoping to be able to identify the clothes as April's, Gloria is on the first plane out to San Bernardino County in California. This is the first time Gloria Denton will confront the people and places associated with her missing daughter.
I just dropped to my knees when I got out there and I seen it. Just vast sand, hills, desert, shacks.
Gloria remembers how April described the desert in one of their last conversations.
She said, Mom, it's a dog-eat-dog world out here. You do what you can to survive. And when I got out there, I knew what she meant.
The next morning, Gloria accompanies the search team to the area where the clothes were found. They head out to a mine called the Indian Queen, several miles beyond the Red Dog mine, which police searched 1 year ago. When they arrive, April's mother ventures out to scan the premises for any signs of her daughter. It doesn't take her long.
The first thing I seen was a red and black flannel shirt that I seen her.
Gloria sadly remembers the night April called her, asking for help.
She didn't have any clothes, she didn't have anything. She said, Mom, it's cold out here. You know, can you send me a coat, something flannel? So I fixed her up a couple boxes of clothes.
April told her mother how touched she had been to receive the care package.
She held them up to her and smelled them, and that she went in the bedroom and closed the door and just cried and cried because she could smell me and she knew where they came from.
After a thorough search, investigators feel confident April is not at the Indian Queen. But April's mother does not want to give up. Although the Red Dog mine was searched by police 1 year ago, Gloria wants to see it for herself. She asks the coroner, David Van Norman, to take her there. She shudders at what she finds.
When I pulled up, the first thing that I seen was the white suitcase that Barbara Killebrew gave April. It was just a flapping in the wind.
This is the same suitcase Chuck claimed April left behind at his house. It was not here when police searched the Red Dog mine in December of 2005. Now, 1 year later, April's clothes are scattered between the Indian Queen and Red Dog mines. The question persists. How and why did these items get from Chuck's house in Newberry Springs to the mines of Ludlow, 30 miles away?
I don't know how the clothing that Gloria says was her daughter's ended up in the desert, if it was the same clothes that was at Chuck's house.
Police and Gloria may never know the truth. Chuck Hollister is very sick with cancer. Detective Steve Pennington interrogates him one last time.
I asked him, you know, if he had done this, if it was something that he wanted to clear his conscience, and he flat out denied any involvement in her disappearance.
As for the clothes that were found in the desert, they failed to provide any forensic value.
The hot of the desert sun and sometimes the cold of a desert winter will destroy any evidence that could be analyzed from that.
Soon after, Chuck Hollister passes away. As time progresses, the case of April Pitzer gets increasingly complicated and enigmatic.
There's been so many rumors that have floated around out here. We don't want to hear any more rumors. We want to know what somebody actually knows.
At first, I was real hopeful, you know, and you get people telling you all these different things. I finally threw my hands up, and I'm like, look, April didn't die that many times. She wasn't killed that many ways, and she can't be that many places.
Then, in 2009, when Gloria is out in California for yet another search, she hears through the grapevine that Dan, the man who might hold the clues to her daughter's disappearance, is sick and in the intensive care unit.
I'm like, oh my God, I've got to go see this man. He can't die. I could never rest if I'd been out here and I don't go talk to him.
With April's missing person picture on her t-shirt, Gloria Denton confronts the man she believes is somehow involved in her daughter's disappearance.
And he looked at me and I said, Dan, I'm Gloria, I'm April's mom. And I kept on waiting on that hate to come over me, you know, and it just never came.
Dan and Gloria talk for over an hour. His kindness makes Gloria feel as though she has been wrong all along about his role in April's death.
I started crying, and he cried with me. And, you know, he took my hand, and he said, April was a sweetheart, Gloria, and whoever killed that girl needs to be brought to justice.
Then, just days later, before dying, Dan confesses to friends that he knows more about April's disappearance than he let on.
Dan said when he was dying, that girl, April Pitzer, said her mom's in the right place. She's just not been far enough.
I believe when he said we were looking in the right place, he was referring to his mind.
In March 2010, a team of volunteer mine enthusiasts take Dan's words seriously. They have the capabilities of rappelling 3,000 feet deep into mines. If April is farther down in the Red Dog mine, they will find her.
I copy you, Mike. I'm gonna start heading down.
Okay.
On rope! Clear.
Do you want to give us an update of what you're seeing?
It's a clean bottom. There's no debris. It's just a clean bottom.
Once again, the search reveals nothing new.
I can't tell you the nightmares that I've had that April was in Red Dog Mine. No matter how many people have went down there, how many times, I could never get that vision out of my mind. But this time I went, and now I know. You know, she's not down there.
In the 6 years since April went missing, there have been dozens of searches, and not one has gathered a shred of new evidence. Yet investigators and a team of dedicated volunteers persist, largely because of April's mother's tenacity.
So many people don't report their loved ones missing as adults because, well, they're not worthy. That's a prostitute, that's an alcoholic, that's a drug addict, you know. I don't care what they are. They are lives. They have names.
Gloria believes her daughter deserves justice and to be remembered as she was in life before her troubles began.
April was beautiful, full of life. She had a beautiful body, a beautiful soul, a beautiful face, and a heart of gold. Everybody loved her. I so believe she's here. No. You know, I have peace that April's with the Lord. And one thing for sure, nobody can hurt her, nobody can take her from me, and she doesn't have to be afraid. I just wished our time together would have been different. But it'll be okay, because we'll do it again.
The Jamison family disappeared on Thursday, October 8th, 2009. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. The Jameson family's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to them. A 6-year-old girl and her free... On the day before the Jamesons disappear, they load their pickup truck and drive 30 miles to Oklahoma's Panola Mountain.
They were looking for property. They were looking to go buy 40 acres of land in a very rural area.
The Jamesons had actually learned about the land on the internet.
The parcel of land is situated in a remote area near an abandoned oil well.
It is really forested area. There's a lot of cliffs and ravines. That's what they like, though. They liked nature.
Those who know Bobby and Sherilyn Jameson say the couple looked at Panola Mountain as a fresh start, a new beginning for them and their young daughter.
They like to go look at land and imagine what if and fantasize about, you know, building whatever, their dream businesses, homes, whatever.
Nikki Shenold has been Sherilyn Jameson's closest friend for more than 10 years.
She used to say a lot, you have to stand for something. I don't care what you stand for, but you have to stand for something. When she believed in something, she believed in it with her whole heart.
Friends and family say that when Sherilyn met Bobby Jameson in the summer of 2002, she knew he was the man for her.
Sherilyn decided right then and there that she liked him and she was interested. Bobby was a very gentle man. He was a good man. He didn't want to do anybody wrong.
They fell in love and got married in July of 2004. Later that summer, the Jamesons have a baby girl and name her Madison.
Madison was my son's, I guess, best gift in his whole life.
Where are you going, Sissy? Looky, there you are on TV.
She was just, you know, beautiful child, and her and I were best friends.
Madison.
For Bobby and Sherilyn, moving to Panola Mountain is the next step in building a simpler life. They're excited to join the small community living there, people who prize independence and self-sufficiency.
There's very few people that live up there. Even the ones that do have the bare minimum needs.
In order to have electricity, you have to really have a generator. Some people have septic systems, some people don't. It's a pretty rustic way of life.
When it comes to being off the grid, they're as close as you probably could be in this area.
On the morning the Jamesons start to explore the mountain where they hope to make their new home, they become lost in a maze of dirt roads. They run into one of the handful of people living up there and ask for directions.
He's out there working, he sees them come up. They're talking about buying land in that area. They're asking him questions about, okay, how do you build on a place, you know? How do you do the things that you need to do to be able to live in this area?
Bobby and Sherilyn get directions to the plot of land they're considering and decide to return the next day. The following morning, they drive back up the mountain, looking forward to seeing the place where they would live out their dreams.
I think they wanted to get away from everybody and be able to enjoy life on their own, not to have to answer to anybody.
It's pretty desolate, but I think desolate at that point was what they were looking for. They were just kind of looking to start anew and kind of get away from mainstream.
But the Jamesons' outing comes to an unexpected and mysterious end. 8 days later, hunters on four-wheelers find a locked truck parked on a dirt road near the top of Panola Mountain.
They peeked in the window and they saw a dog, and the dog was not doing so well. It had been locked in that truck for multiple days.
There wasn't any food for the dog. I mean, she was a survivor. She was a survivor to live through that.
There is no sign of the Jamesons anywhere on the hilltop. The Latimer County Sheriff's Office is called,
The call just came in that there's an abandoned truck up there. We broke the glass, got the dog out of there. We started to do an inventory on the vehicle to try to find out who they were.
When he began to find things in there, he knew that it was something definitely was wrong. They had cell phones in their truck, and their billfolds were there, her purse was there. You know, it was like they had just disappeared.
Because their coats, phones, and money are all left behind, police believe that Bobby and Sherilyn, along with their 6-year-old daughter, Madison, must be lost nearby in the woods.
After we started looking through everything, we were figuring, okay, they're up here.
It would be quite easy for somebody to go out there and get bit by a snake and to not be able to get back to the truck and just to not be able to find your way around.
Police conduct an immediate search of the area surrounding the truck.
I had 5 or 6 deputies up there. Started calling out their names once we figured out who they were, trying to get some type of reply from them.
Rugged terrain makes the search doubly challenging.
You can get lost in the woods up there very easily unless you know where you're going. Because if you get in the midst of the trees, you can't see, you know, very far ahead.
For law enforcement, time is of the essence.
There was a child missing. It was getting towards, you know, end of October. The nights were getting colder, and they didn't have their jackets with them because those were left in the truck.
We knew that they had been there 8 to 9 days, and you're getting on that timeline there to where, you know, the chances of making it, we're at that point now.
Why hadn't anyone reported that the Jamison family had been missing for 8 days? The few people that saw their truck guessed that it belonged to a work crew.
There's a lot of wells up in that area, oil wells, gas wells. So a lot of people thought it was just people with an oil field that had come in.
Also, the Jamisons were a very private family, and it wasn't unusual for them to hunker down for several days or longer without speaking to friends or family members.
They had a habit of going out of town for extended periods of time and not really letting anybody know.
We could go a year and not talk and pick up the phone and act as if no time had gone by. I mean, that's just the relationship that we had. There's a lot of reasons why no one was alarmed.
Bobby and Sherilyn had also just pulled 6-year-old Madison out of school in preparation for homeschooling her.
The school didn't realize that, you know, Madison was in there because she had been taken out.
If it wasn't for the hunters coming down and telling the man that lived close to him about the vehicle, it could have been that much longer.
The sheriff's men on Panola Mountain realized that by now, the Jamisons could be anywhere. They used the family's cell phones to help reconstruct their last known movements.
As we checked the GPS from the phone, we had found out that they didn't spend the majority of the time parked there.
GPS coordinates lead police up a nearby hill, where they find footprints.
The 6-year-old's footprints were there, and that was obvious and easy to identify.
We were able to follow their footprints as well as follow the GPS on the camera up to a rock.
They determined that the Jamisons spend about 15 or 20 minutes up the hill from their truck. And remarkably, they find an eerie memento of the family's time on the hill.
The cell phone had a picture on it of Madison. They'd actually taken the picture on a small bluff that was just north of the location, maybe just a couple 100 yards.
It's the last picture that we have of Madison.
It appears to police that after taking the photo, the Jamisons return to their truck and start to leave. What happened next is shrouded in mystery. Then, while scouring the cab for more clues, a deputy sheriff makes a stunning discovery.
He said, I've got something to tell you, and I think you need to come up here. And I said, okay, what's going on? And he told me, he said, hey, there is a substantial amount of money in this vehicle.
A bank bag hidden beneath the driver's seat contains $32,000 in cash.
I wondered why. Why is all this money in here?
Anytime any large amount of cash is found in a vehicle, it raises a lot of red flags.
So at that moment, I said, okay, get everybody away, tape it off as if it was a crime scene. Don't know, what's going on yet, but tape it off.
We really weren't sure why they disappeared.
Coming up, evidence points to a violent event in the Jamisons' disappearance.
I think that they were probably forced out at gunpoint. I mean, why would you struggle if someone has a gun to you?
While looking at a plot of land on Oklahoma's Panola Mountain, Bobby and Sherilyn Jamison and their 6-year-old daughter Madison have disappeared. Investigators find the family's truck abandoned in the Oklahoma backcountry.
A pickup sitting down there, with all of their goods and the dog locked inside the car was very suspicious.
Investigators are confounded by their most recent discovery, a hidden bank bag containing $32,000 in cash.
It's very unlikely that they would leave the vehicle there and lock their cell phones and their wallets and leave all of that in the car on their own accord, but we really didn't know.
It's very uncomfortable to me, very uncomfortable.
Police theorized that the Jamisons were in their truck heading back down the mountain when they were interrupted.
It seemed to me like they were leaving and that someone came up that one-way road and they stopped. Maybe they knew them, maybe not well. They stopped, talked to the person. From there, obviously, I don't know what happened.
Would you struggle if someone has a gun to you?
Hopeful for a lead, investigators process every item found in the truck.
At this point, there were so many different things that led us in different directions. We weren't sure if they were lost, we weren't sure if they were abducted.
Then, buried in the clutter filling the cab, they stumble upon something they never expected. An 11-page letter written from Sherilyn to her husband, brimming with hostility.
She was lashing out big time in this letter to Bobby.
It was just a hate and discontent. The years of fighting. She felt that he wanted to be a loner and didn't really need a family. And other than that, I mean, it was just a lot of hate.
Investigators learn that in recent months, there were serious stresses in the Jamisons' marriage.
We learned from their family members that they were having problems. We had learned from the letter that they were talking about getting divorced.
They had been looking at selling their house and kind of moving away to get away from that to make things better.
Much of the strain dates back to 2003, when Bobby was involved in a serious auto accident.
Bobby was driving his truck in 2003, and he had a wreck. He was coming around a curve, which is a blind curve in the road, and this lady hit him from one side, and another lady hit him from the other side.
Since the accident, Bobby suffered from chronic pain and was unable to work.
It is very hard for him to get up out of bed even. Medicine wasn't really helping relieve the pain.
It made it hard for him to do things around the home. And I think that the pain every day, the chronic pain, really put a toll on his spirits. And I think he became depressed, and it made things more difficult in the marriage.
The letter forces investigators to consider a violent scenario in the Jamisons' disappearance. Their concerns heighten when family members tell them that a pistol belonging to Sherilyn Jamison cannot be found.
We didn't know about the .22 pistol until that moment, so we said, no, we haven't found a pistol. And they told us, okay, well, usually she carries this pistol in the vehicle.
Investigators search the Jamisons' truck and house thoroughly. When they find no pistol, they begin to fear the worst.
We got a pistol missing, we have a hate letter here. We're starting to get to point toward maybe murder-suicide. We thought to ourselves that maybe it was her that had killed them.
Coming up, leads in the Jamisons' disappearance go from confusing to downright bizarre.
Bobby had asked him, okay, is there a special bullet that I can buy to kill these spirits?
Bobby and Sherilyn Jamison and their 6-year-old daughter Madison have been missing for nearly 2 days. The possibility of foul play comes to the forefront of the investigation as police learn more about a troubled marriage and Sherilyn's missing pistol.
A pistol being missing is important. We were told by family members that she carried the pistol everywhere. Maybe this was a murder-suicide.
If a murder-suicide had occurred, the Jamisons' bodies would still be somewhere on Panola Mountain. On October 17th, less than 24 hours after their truck was found, law enforcement begins a massive search.
The emergency management in Latimer County got a hold of all the fire departments in this area, EMS, forestry. Local people started showing up with horses, four-wheelers.
They didn't know where to go, where to start looking. You know, so they just took teams and went up there.
All of the resources of Latimer County are brought to bear. Helicopters, fixed-wing aircraft, tracking dogs, teams of horses and mule, and hundreds of personnel all assist in the search effort. The rough terrain makes everything twice as hard.
It's a triple canopy, a lot of woods, a lot of rocks, almost all of it straight uphill, and very, very tough conditions to try to do a search in.
It was also hazardous and dangerous because a lot of the people didn't know the woods and they could get lost.
Walking up those mountains and trying to keep a straight line and everybody intact is very, very hard to do in that type of terrain.
Tracking dogs are also brought up to Panola Mountain to aid in the search effort.
There were dogs that we brought up to the scene, both cadaver dogs and air scent dogs, to try to locate the Jamison family.
We used some articles from the vehicle to let the dogs take a sniff of it, try to get familiar with their scent.
The dogs start at the truck and fan outward through the surrounding terrain.
They were very interested at the top of the mountain as well as around the truck. They didn't really want to leave that area.
Although acres of woods surround the open area at the top of Panola Mountain, the dogs don't venture off the plateau. They alert on a nearby water tank, signaling investigators to the possible presence of human remains.
The tank was full of water, and the dogs seemed to have hit on it quite a bit. Obviously, we were thinking to ourselves, okay, they might be dead bodies in this tank.
The tank is drained and examined, but nothing is found inside. Search teams scour the mountainside, but find no bodies.
I find it impossible for you to be able to hide your own body. Yes, you may be able to hide one or two that you'd obviously kill, but to hide your own body would be nearly impossible.
That conclusion brings a measure of relief to the Jamisons' friends and family, who have trouble believing Sherilyn capable of murder.
I don't think there was any way, even if Sherilyn was depressed, that she would shoot Bobby. I know they had a lot of arguments and they had fights about things, but she truly loved Bobby and Bobby loved her.
To help spread the word about the Jamisons, missing posters are created and distributed around southeastern Oklahoma.
There was effort made to get information out to the public and to let them know that they were missing.
We took the picture of Madison off of their cell phone that they had taken up on the mountain. We put her age, height, her hair, date of birth. We used the driver's license of Sherilyn and Bobby, and we done the same for them.
So anybody that walked by, you could see, hey, you know, I didn't know them, or, you know, I saw them the other day.
Although their focus shifts away from murder-suicide, investigators continue to uncover strange details about the Jamisons' lives. They discover that Bobby, and especially Sherilyn, had a strong interest in spirituality.
Sherilyn had some beliefs that were not commonly shared with other people, and I think she had a tendency to exaggerate them and go a little bit overboard with them.
In the weeks prior to their disappearance, the Jamisons attended prayer meetings conducted by a local preacher who was later interviewed by investigators.
He was talking about them seeing spirits, that they came to him and was talking to him about seeing spirits.
The preacher tells investigators that Sherilyn said that angels were coming into their home in the form of children and interacting with her 6-year-old daughter.
I know that Sherilyn had said that Madison was talking to people that had died, and one of them was named Emily. I don't think it was someone dead. I think it was an imaginary being that she, had, to cope with some of the things that were going on in her life. It's very hard for a small child to be somewhere where there's arguments going on.
The preacher also tells police that Bobby Jamison believed that he saw spirits on the roof of their Lakeside Eufaula home. It's a disturbing revelation.
It was 3 or 4 spirits that were giving them trouble and mostly talking about them being on the roof. And we had also found out from him that Bobby had asked him, okay, is there a special bullet that I can buy to kill these spirits?
That makes me sad. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know what that would be about.
Friends and family are not clear on what Bobby may have been going through to explain such unusual behavior.
It's a mystery to me. I don't know where that came from, and I don't know the minister. I don't know the church. I've never been there before. It just doesn't sound like him to say something like that.
According to police, Sherilyn had also spray-painted odd phrases on signs and buildings in their neighborhood, including the storage container they had sitting on their lakefront property.
Sherilyn had a cat that had passed away, and she believed that it had been poisoned, and that raised a lot of issues within the neighborhood.
The graffiti said something along the lines of witches don't like their cats being killed.
I know she's told the neighbors around here she's a witch, and come on in for some witch's brew, and I think it scared people off, but I think she just didn't want to be bothered by people.
Sherilyn used to tell me, if you have a problem with somebody, make them think you're crazy. The crazier they think you are, the more they'll leave you alone. It's true, it worked. You spray paint some crazy stuff on there and people think you are crazy. I don't think anybody bothered them after that.
For investigators, the clues and odd revelations about the Jamisons' lives are not adding up to a coherent whole.
When you do an investigation, one of the ways that most of us were taught, you actually get rid of each scenario that could have happened. So a process of elimination on it. And in this case, we haven't been able to completely eliminate anything.
This has been a very bizarre thing. I mean, there are so many pieces to this puzzle, and every day you find a new piece, something else comes up.
After the Jamisons have been missing for 7 days, a lead finally surfaces that appears to turn the investigation around. Law enforcement learns that the Jamison home is outfitted with surveillance cameras and that recordings were made up to the time of the family's disappearance.
Both cameras were pointed toward the driveway of the residence. We have the footage of their home surveillance that morning of them getting ready and preparing to come up to the mountain.
In the eerie-looking surveillance video recorded on the day they disappeared, the Jamisons are seen packing their truck.
The family was found going in and out of the home multiple times, back and forth to the car in somewhat of a trance-like state.
We found it odd that they had to go back and forth so many times. I would say safely each one of them, without it being an exaggeration, went 20 times back and forth. They never acknowledged each other as they were walking back and forth from the vehicle. Never acknowledged each other. It's like they were the only persons in the world.
Speculating that the Jamisons' behavior may indicate an involvement with drugs, Sheriff Beecham shows the recording to experts.
I actually had psychologists look at the footage of them leaving their house from their security cameras, trying to get an idea of what type of people they thought they were. It made me and the psychologists feel that they were on some type of drug at that time.
If the Jamisons were involved with drugs, in Latimer County, that usually means one thing.
We automatically assume here in southeastern Oklahoma, if you're on a drug, that it's methamphetamine because we have such a problem with it here.
Coming up, could a violent incident a month before the Jamisons disappeared be the key to solving the case?
Then she put the gun to his head and said, "You need to go. You need to leave right now and don't come."
The Jamison family has been missing for 14 days. But now, a recovered surveillance video leads investigators to suspect a drug connection in their disappearance.
We felt that there was a possibility that Sherilyn and Bobby had been doing methamphetamines or other drugs by their behaviors on the video surveillance.
It can come in a powder form. It can come in a crystal form. They like to call it the redneck cocaine.
Some sort of drug connection could possibly help explain the bank bag with $32,000 found in the Jamisons' truck.
In this area, you find that much money, automatically you start to think about drugs.
But the Jamisons' friends and family believe that connecting them to illicit drug use is both wrong and unfair.
I don't know anything about having drugs or any of that. People jump to conclusions. They don't know what's happening.
I feel like a lot of the things that could be helpful in this case are almost being used to make them seem like druggies or whatever, and they weren't. They weren't at all. Everyone is speculating as to what were they really doing up there. Well, they were looking at land. It doesn't mean that they were up to no good.
Family members can also explain the seemingly suspicious array of surveillance cameras on the house. Bobby's mother says they had nothing to do with drugs. The cameras were installed for personal reasons, involving her now deceased husband.
Surveillance cameras put on the house for protection. My husband had threatened me several different times. He also threatened my son and Sherilyn. And I had the cameras installed. I'm the one that did that. I also had a security system put on my house because I was afraid. And it's hard to live through life being afraid.
FBI agents conduct a thorough search of the Jamisons' house and property.
There were no traces of methamphetamine in the home or in the vehicle.
As far as I know, the FBI did not find any drugs.
Investigators are unable to make a clear connection between the Jamisons' disappearance and drugs. But delving deeper into their personal lives, police uncover information that could explain some of Sherilyn's apparently erratic behavior.
After meeting with Sherilyn's mental health provider, we learned that she suffered from bipolar disorder and that she had been struggling for many years with the condition.
According to friends and family, Sherilyn didn't always stay on her prescribed medication.
It's a hard thing to accept that you have to take medication to be normal the rest of your life. She would do what a lot of depressed people do when you start feeling good because of the medication. You're like, oh, I'm good now. And you get off the medication and then you're worse off because your brain's trying to catch up.
I mean, she was like two different people. When she was taking her meds and taking them properly, she would be the happiest person on earth.
Sherilyn's condition could explain some of the more unusual writings in her journal, including the hostile letter written to her husband that police found in the Jamisons' truck.
When she would go in the other state of her bipolarism, she would be angry, hateful, belittling herself.
Sherilyn didn't write a word unless she was writing what was going on in her head. And that's why the journal was so disturbed.
Despite Sherilyn's sometimes erratic behavior, investigators believe that her bipolar disorder played no part in the family's disappearance. According to friends and family, her illness and Bobby's chronic pain did create enormous tensions in their marriage. But they looked at moving to Panola Mountain as a second chance at happiness.
They were trying to make a go of it. They were trying to get back together. And I think they thought if they moved up there, they could, just start a new life. My son loved her very, very much, as well as he did his daughter, and she loved them back.
By November 1st, the family has been missing for more than 3 weeks. Investigators are stumped.
Most investigators would love to have the amount of evidence that we have. And the problem is that it leads us in every which direction.
Then, just when they are running out of angles, a stunning new lead surfaces. Police learn that a few months before they disappeared, Bobby and Sherilyn took in a boarder.
There was an individual that was living with them, and this individual was there to help work on the residents.
Because of his chronic back pain, Bobby thought having another set of hands around would ease the burden on both him and Sherilyn. But according to friends, the boarder began to make Sherilyn uncomfortable when Bobby wasn't around.
Sherilyn and Madison both felt very threatened by this fellow who had been staying with them.
Investigators learn of one incident that was especially disturbing to Sherilyn.
Bobby had left to go somewhere, and the man that was staying here sat down next to her, real close, and put his face right in her face and said, I'm a white supremacist, and you keep talking about all this Indian blood you have. And I think anybody who's not pure white needs to die.
Sherilyn takes Madison away and returns with one of Bobby's guns.
She was scared for her child, and Bobby. And she pointed the gun at the guy and said, "Get off this property and don't come back."
Sherilyn fires live rounds near the boarder's feet to drive him away.
She's really torn up about that. She felt really bad about it. I mean, she was crying to me, telling me this and saying, "I've never held a gun to anyone before."
Investigators learn that the man has an extensive police record.
Obviously, this person became a great interest to us.
If you threaten someone and then they make you leave at gunpoint, that's a pretty big indicator that you might be wanting to retaliate.
The FBI launches an investigation to identify and track down the former boarder.
The FBI felt that he quite possibly could have brought them harm.
Coming up, investigators zero in on the Jamesons' boarder. What does he know about their disappearance?
This isn't a random crime. This is something that was premeditated. Somebody knew they were going to be there that day, and they took advantage of that.
Bobby and Sherilyn Jameson and their daughter Madison have been missing for 3 weeks. But the investigation into their disappearance is finally working with a solid lead. Police learn that a month before they disappeared, a live-in handyman allegedly threatened Sherilyn's life. She forced him to leave their home at gunpoint. His current whereabouts are unknown.
We found out all the information we needed about the individual.
Investigators learn the boarder's name from a prescription bottle found in the Jamesons' truck.
We put it out to the U.S. Marshals.
U.S. Marshals find the man living in Wilburton, Oklahoma, and detain him.
U.S. Marshals tracked him down, and the FBI did interview him.
In the interview, the former boarder is able to account for his time during the Jamesons' disappearance. The FBI doesn't consider him to be a suspect. Investigators again find themselves back at square one.
I really don't know where to go from here other than each time that we get a lead, follow up on the lead.
Friends and family believe that despite the crushing challenges in their lives, the Jamesons were planning for a brighter future until something or someone got in their way.
They were trying to love each other the best they could, But knowing all of that now, it really makes me sad because they didn't get that chance to start over fresh.
Over the weeks and months that follow, investigators check out each and every lead that comes their way.
There's a rumor of them being in trouble with You know, whether it be organized crime or just small-time gangs or crimes, that is all rumor. And we don't know any of that for a fact. But we can't get rid of that, so it's still there.
But the rumors don't lead to a break in the case. The FBI doesn't currently consider anyone to be a suspect in the Jamisons' disappearance.
At this time, we have no suspects. And until evidence comes to life to show differently, there are no suspects.
Sheriff Beecham believes it's probable that the Jamisons were kidnapped or taken by force. He just doesn't have the evidence to prove it.
Because of everything being left in there and the way the vehicle was parked, they got out of that vehicle after they were trying to leave the location because somebody had drove up there. Somebody had drove up there and blocked their path.
It's so rural up there that you wouldn't just cross paths. This isn't a random crime. This is something that was premeditated. Somebody knew they were going to be there that day, and they took advantage of that.
Whether they made them leave by gunpoint force or they got in voluntarily, I don't know. And what happened from there, I don't know. But that is my current theory on what had happened.
Both family and investigators are frustrated by the magnitude of the mystery surrounding the Jamisons.
Most of the time people will tell you, and I hate saying it, but you need to find bodies, whether alive or dead. To usually solve a case like this, you need the bodies.
Right now, we just need everyone's help in finding them and locating them, because not knowing is very hard.
I've used more resources than most people have ever used in the state of Oklahoma to try to find somebody. It's a small department. It's a small county. There's not very many people around here. Everybody talks about it now. Every day I hear, did you find that missing family yet? Did you find them? And no. That's my only answer. You know, it messes with your confidence, there's no doubt, not being able to solve such an important case.
Perhaps due to the lack of new leads, media interest in the Jamisons' disappearance outside of Latimer County has slowed to a trickle.
Even right now, whenever I ask someone if they know about this family, a whole family that went missing, they have no idea what I'm talking about.
In the meantime, Bobby, Sherilyn, and Madison's family remains desperate for answers.
It's hard to put yourself in the family's shoes. I've never had this happen to me, and I couldn't imagine it happening to me. And it must be the toughest thing you could probably go through in a lifetime.
We've already had 7 months go by. The search has gotten kind of cold. I've gone through so many scenarios in my head. If they can help me find my kids, I'll do anything. I want my kids back.
To help the case, if anybody does know any information, they need to give us a ring. We need it. We're begging for it. If you know where they're at, tell us.
You know, I would sell my left limb if somebody would come forward. If somebody would just say something. Anything. Because